This is Linda Burton
And this is Joseph Burton.
with Fighting to Stay Married. Today's topic is about forgiving and letting go, and how important it is to forgive someone in the different situations that we have. Is not really about forgiving them so much as about letting go for us. Holding on to different things that hurt us or that affect us, that we need to let go, because the more we hold on to it, the more we're hurting ourselves. What do you think?
So, yeah, I guess so. It's something that people struggle with. It's something that people battle with a lot. People can hold something against you for 30 years, and then find out that it's a misunderstanding or a miscommunication.
Now, there's a saying that when I don't forgive you, I'm actually thinking I'm poisoning you, then I'm actually poisoning myself. Have you heard that before?
Oh, you're thinking that not forgiving somebody that actually hurts them, and you think they're feeling the hurt, but they're not really feeling the hurt. You're just damaging yourself.
Yeah. And then there's other people that think because I'm mad at you and I'm hurting you, then I don't want anything from you or anything to do with you. Mm-hmm. And I'm actually just hurting myself. I'm not hurting you. You're actually getting more freedom to use your time for whatever you want instead of assisting that person. But I think I'm hurting that person. So when we don't let go and we hold on to that and not forgiving them, we're actually hurting ourselves. And there's so many different studies that show forgiveness as in our health, affecting our health. By not forgiving someone or not letting go with something, we are actually hurting ourselves.
Okay.
So it's important that we forgive and we let go of different things. Now, to you, do you feel because I forgive and let go, does that give me a right to bring it up again?
Does it have a right to bring it up again?
Yes.
Well, I don't know. It depends on the context, I guess.
What do you mean?
Well, people think that, okay, you've done something against a person and you end up forgiving them, or they end up forgiving you, right? And then if you continue to bring it up, I suppose, as a means to hurt the person, then I think that's incorrect, right? So, but you're bringing it up because you're trying to teach, then I don't think there's a problem with that at all.
Well, I agree, but I don't agree. The key word you use is to teach. I don't think it's my job to teach someone that hurt me that way, like to make sure they learned their lesson. That's what a lot of people say. I don't think that's the right way. I think if I'm going to forgive you, then I'm going to forgive you. It's not my job to make sure you learned a lesson from that.
Well, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying learn a lesson. I'm just saying because it's about relating, helping a person relate to what you're trying to say. And if they can understand something by bringing up the past, not to harm them, but just to in relation. Like, okay, she'll be able to understand what I'm saying because of something from the past. Now, you may say, well, don't bring it up at all. Is that what you're trying to say? Doesn't matter. Think of another example.
Yeah, we talked about that once before. When you're using examples, you don't want to try to use an example of the person that hurt you to bring up that situation that they hurt you in, because now they're focused on what they did. I thought you forgave me and all that, instead of the new situation that you're trying to bring up.
But I think I thought you forgave me, I think that is only in the context of if you're fighting or something, or if you're still angry at it. You said that, yeah, I forgive you, but you still hurt. I can understand that point, but I think there's instances where you can bring up stuff to help the person relate to what you're trying to say, or what you're trying to convey. So I don't think bringing up the past. I think it's the motive behind it, and you have to look at each situation different. Because if they're mean-spirited and mean-hearted and trying to dig and trying to hurt, I understand your point. But if it's something as a casual conversation and it's brought up in such a way that that actually can help the situation, then I don't see a problem with that. I think forgiveness does not mean that you can't bring something up, right? That's not what forgiveness is. I am not going to hold that against you anymore. That's what the forgiveness part is about. I'm not holding that against you anymore. I moved on from that. I'm cool. One of the best things to me is if you can talk about the past without anger coming in, that's a sign of forgiveness for me. It's the tone of the conversation. In my opinion, it's the tone of the conversation. If the tone of the conversation is just you're talking and you bring up and like, oh yeah, you're going back and forth and everybody's in a good mood, and you say, oh yeah, oh you know what, I think I understand, because when you had did that a long time ago, I can relate to that. I think any couple that if they're over something and they have moved on from it and matured from it and forgave each other, I just think that if you can talk about the mistakes of the past and not be offended anymore, then I think that's a sign of maturity, and I think that's a sign of learning from your mistakes. Okay, but to say, it's off limit forever, ever. So, because how are you going to help somebody? How are you going to help somebody with a relationship? How are you going to be real and authentic if you can't bring up the past? Say, yeah, I did this at one time against my wife and blah, blah, this. And if you talk about it, you know what I mean? If you're out there trying to help someone, if you're really, truly trying to help someone, then you're putting yourself aside.
Okay, then I can understand it in that example. So I'm not throwing it back in your face. I'm using an example to someone else of what we've been through and how we overcame it. To me, that's different. I can see that.
But you should be able to talk. We should be able to talk to each other about our mistakes. Because if everybody's going around talking about my wife is my best friend or my husband is my best friend, then are they? Are they your best friend? Because you can talk about things with your best friend. You can talk about. They say you can talk about anything or most things on your heart, which I don't know. I mean, that's what people say. Oh, my wife is my best friend or my husband is my best friend. I think being able to, allow your spouse to talk about things in such a way that's healing, and that's because that's healing for the relationship or to them, and it's to help relate and bring things into perspective,
to bring you guys closer together.
It could be.
Okay.
But if you're always cutting it off just because something that you did, if I did something to you and I'm always cutting you off, I can't believe you bring that up again, and in the context that you bring it up, it's not foul at all.
Well, see, that's the part I think I'm stuck at. If the person had to say, and you're bringing that up again, that means there's a wound still there that is not ready to be brought back up because they said it. So it could be not even to the point that you forgave them, it's to the point that they didn't forgive themselves for some reason.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's not resolved.
Right.
I'm talking about when everything has been resolved.
But you personally can think it was resolved, but in their heart, they're still upset with themselves about it.
I know, but that part of it, I'm saying, when I say resolved, it's been resolved in both parties.
Well, how would you know it's resolved in their heart?
You will know, because if you bring it up and they still angry about it and Baba and still hurt over it, then it's unresolved. Okay. Like, they can't talk about it yet, because there's things that people I have known someone that can talk about something that their spouse did, and they're not angry with it anymore. They're not using it to throw it in their spouse's face or that person's face. Their heart is genuinely healed.
I remember doing a small group study, and it was a couple, and the guy said, I am so blessed of my wife because I had an affair and she never brought it up to me. She never threw it back in my face or brought it up, besides the time, of course, we had to deal with it, but never. And I guess the affair happened 12 years ago, and he just took the time to thank her for, during those 12 years of passing it, She never used it as an example. She never brought it in his face. And he said that was the honor that he wanted to give her of feeling the true love and forgiveness for it, because she never brought it up again. Do you feel, can you bring it up, or should you bring it up? Please leave a message in a comment or email us and let us know. Is it healthy in your relationship to bring up those things? One can say yes and one can say the no, and it's to the point of knowing when to honor that person and where is the level of that with that. Okay. Part of forgiveness, of how important it is to let it go, not even saying it's for the other person, but how important it is for you to let go, and why it's healing to your body. Of reading studies and different things saying it can, cause so many health issues of holding on to different things. I really feel like I know of some people that have health issues, and it's for not letting go. It's holding on to previous hurt and different things. They can't remember certain things, but they can remember the hurt, that it took so much part of their life that they're stuck in that hurt in that one period of time, and they're missing out on so many other things. I remember we went through this stage of when you're mad, it was a 3-day, I call it 3-day wrath, of just needing time to calm down, to relax, to let go, and to get healing. And now it's to the point that we're better through that we can just let go of things faster. But the 3 days, who guarantees that we have another hour, another minute of life? And then holding something on for 3 days, a year, 20 years, not getting healing in our own self with that, and missing out opportunities on relationships and bonds and other connections from that. What's going on? We're hurting ourselves more than we're hurting the other person. So, do you have anything else to say with that?
Nope. I think I said it all.
So I want to thank you guys for listening, and write us comments of what you think. Thank you.
Bye.